Hi, my name's Chris. I own SRQ Fishing Oasis in Sarasota. Um, I do a ton of reel repair, and about the most general question I get asked is, what can I do to my reel that's fairly simple to maintain it? And the number one thing you can do is rinse your rods and reels out with a water hose after you get done. I mean, I'm talking about saltwater. If you're saltwater fishing, you want to rinse them off real good after you're done. Try to get that salt off the outside of the reel and maybe under the spool or that type of thing. But as far as taking the reel apart and doing something, I can show you a couple of basic things that you can do to kind of make your reel last a little longer and make sure it's a little smoother. First thing you can do is go ahead and take the spool off, screw it. Sometimes the little washer under the spool will actually come off with the spool. This is a little click washer. It has a couple of black plastic washers on top of it, but you need to get those off. And underneath the spool, there's a little nut, and usually there's a screw holding that nut in place just to make sure it doesn't move. Some reels don't have them. Some do. You want to remove this nut. And most reels, the nut is, it's a normal nut. Turn it counterclockwise to remove it. If it's not, it'll say otherwise usually on the spool. Pull the actual hood off, and then you're stuck with this. And this is really common on Shimano reels. Almost every Shimano reel, even the cheaper ones, have these. This right here is called the anti-reverse bearing. I'm pretty sure almost every Shimano has this, except for maybe like a FX Shimano. I mean, the real cheap ones, they don't have the reverse bearings, but anything above like a Sonora, I think, has one. And you'll want to remove this bearing. It's really easy. There's only 3 screws. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there's 3 silver screws and 1 black screw, and we'll want to take all the silver screws out. And then you're just left with the shaft, the pinion gear, and it'll just pull right out. This is what it looks like, kind of. Hope it's not blurry because I'm not actually using this camera myself, but then you can just pull this stuff off. And this is the main thing right here, is this little bearing on the shaft. This is the culprit of most noisy reels, is this bearing, and this one seems to be okay. But if it's not really noisy, if it is noisy, if the bearing has been compromised, it's a more lengthy process to fix it, because there's a shielding on most of these bearings, and what you'd have to do is actually remove that shielding, which can be a pain in the butt at times, and you have to flush the bearing out and all that kind of stuff. For that type of thing, I might do a video on it later on, but you probably want to bring it in to me or somebody else to replace the bearing or to recondition this one. But if the bearing seems to be okay, I like to hit it with some Inox MX4 Lanox. This is a great anti-corrosive spray. It's also a fantastic lubricant. But I like to use the aerosol because you can spray it down in there and actually get through that shielding on the bearing. And just kind of roll it around a little bit. And what we want to do is just put this back on the pinion gear. There's a little washer there. And then this is the actual, this runs inside your anti-reverse bearing. This is actually, this part right here is what makes sure that your reel doesn't go backwards. And I mean, if they look dirty, you can get a paper towel or something and kind of just wipe the dirt off of it or whatever. This one's fine. Another thing you can do before you put this reverse bearing back on the reel, you can't put any grease on it. Most of the bearings right on the top of it, it'll say no grease, so you can't put any grease in it. I've actually done that before, and what it does, I don't know what it does inside of the bearing, but it'll actually make it to where your reel, it won't stop. It doesn't have a clutch when you put grease in it. It'll go in reverse and forward, and there's nothing stopping it. But what you can do on this one's probably pretty clean too, but take your inox and kind of spray it inside the bearing real good. And then what I do is take a paper towel and on the corner just kind of roll it up a little bit on the corner, and you can actually stick it inside the bearing to where it fits pretty tight, and just kind of roll that entire reverse bearing both ways where it's tight on the paper towel, and that usually cleans it pretty good. And then you just put everything back together. Slide the pinion gear back on, and then put your reverse bearing back on. And the hood goes next. And then put your spool back on. And also what you can do, and actually before you put your spool back on, is take your inox, or you can take oil or whatever you want to put on it, and just kind of spray a little bit inside the top of the drag washers. A lot of times you'll get a little bit of corrosion up in there. And I also take it and spray a little bit in the bottom side too, bottom side of the spool, and then you can stick it back on. But I mean, there's a couple other things you can do, but because of time, I may put those on another video. But other than that, this reel's good to go. If you have any more questions, or you have a more advanced problem with your reel, bring it to us at SRQ Fishing Oasis in Sarasota, and we'll hook you up. Thank you.